You're sitting there. Someone says something that doesn't sit right with you. Maybe they've crossed the line. Maybe they made a joke at the exactly wrong moment. Maybe they pushed a boundary you've asked them not to push. And you feel it, that frustration rising, the butterflies going absolutely crazy in your stomach. You have to say something. But then you think, why cause more of an issue? What you say won't come off right anyway. It's just going to make things worse. So you go along with it. You sit in the awkwardness. You smile through it. You tell yourself this is fine. This is better for them and for you. And the whole time, something inside of you feels really, really small. That feeling has a name. And today we're going to talk about what it's actually costing you and how to change it. I'm Jessica Davis, licensed therapist and mindset coach with over 13 years of experience helping teens and young adults navigate anxiety, self-doubt, and overthinking. In this video, take what helps and leave what doesn't. This video is here to support and guide you, but it is not a replacement for talking to someone in real life. If you're struggling with your mental health, please reach out to a therapist. And if you're in crisis, contact emergency services or a local helpline. You don't have to go through it alone. All right, let's jump in. This is what it looks like day in, day out. You rehearse the conversation in your head 100 times. You know exactly what you want to say. You've played it out every way it could go. And in your version, it never goes well. So by the time the moment comes, you've already decided it's not worth it. You go along with what they say. You laugh when it isn't even funny. You say yes when every part of you wants to say no. Some people even let coworkers call them the wrong name for years just to avoid one uncomfortable conversation. And the whole time you tell yourself it's easier this way, less problematic. But here's what that's actually costing you. And it doesn't mean some abstract, one day this will catch up with you kind of way. I mean right now in your relationships and how you see yourself. Every time you swallow something that needed to be said, it doesn't disappear. It sits, it turns into resentment, not always towards the other person, sometimes towards yourself, because part of you knows you didn't show up for you. And over time that builds up like a water behind a dam. You can't see it from the outside. Everything looks fine. The surface is calm, but the pressure is building every single time you choose silence over saying what you actually feel. And meanwhile, the relationship is already taking damage. Not later, but now. Every unspoken thing creates a little more distance, a little more disconnect. Honestly, a little more of you that the other person never gets to know. And then one day, the dam breaks, not calmly, not the way you rehearsed it. It comes out as tears you can't explain, as shutting down completely, as snapping at someone over something that has nothing to do with what's actually going on. And now instead of the conversation being about what you needed to say, it's about how you said it. That's what staying quiet actually does. It doesn't protect the relationship. The damage is happening the whole time. You just can't see it yet. Now, I want to tell you about someone I've worked with. She had been avoiding hard conversations almost her entire life, even through high school and into college. Years of going along to get along, smiling through things that hurt, staying quiet in moments that deserved her voice. We worked on it for a while. And I want to be honest with you, the information wasn't the hard part. She knew what she needed to do. The hard part was deciding she was worth the discomfort of actually doing it. And the moment she made that decision, everything shifted. She had hard conversations with professors that improved her engagement in college. She set boundaries with friends and family she had never set before. She went after the job she wanted and got it. And what struck me most watching all of that unfold was that she had spent years thinking that speaking up would make things worse. She didn't realize that staying quiet was already doing that. So why is it so hard to just stop? Why can't you just decide to speak up and actually do it? Because your brain is working against you. When you're about to say something hard, your nervous system fires, your heart rate goes up, your stomach drops, your thoughts race, your whole body says, get out of here. And that response has a name. We call it the fawn response. It happens when your brain decides the safest thing to do in an uncomfortable moment is to make everyone around you as comfortable as possible. So you smile, you agree, you apologize, you shrink. Not because you're weak, because your brain learned at some point that keeping the peace kept you safe. And it's been running that same program on autopilot ever since. Now, maybe you've tried to push past it before. Maybe you've told yourself, I'm going to say something this time. And then when the moment comes, you think, I'll wait for the right moment. But the problem is the right moment never comes because the right moment never feels right. Your nervous system is treating a hard conversation the same way it would treat danger. And the conversation you are playing in your head only gets worse every single time until you've convinced yourself that staying quiet is actually the smarter choice. But the truth is, staying quiet is actually costing you. It's costing you your sanity, the way you see yourself, how you connect and show up in every relationship in your life. You think you're helping by staying silent, but you are slowly sheltering and killing the best piece of you, your voice. If this is hitting home, please drop a comment below and tell me what's one conversation you're going to stop putting off going forward. Just name it, because naming it is the first step to taking action. So what I want you to consider, what if conflict isn't the problem? I know that probably sounds strange and maybe even a little uncomfortable, but stay with me. Most people believe that conflict is the opposite of a good relationship, that if things are tense, if someone is upset, if a hard conversation needs to happen, something must be wrong. But that's not what research says. Dr. John Gottman, one of the most respected relationship researchers in the world, spent decades studying what actually makes relationships fall apart. What he found might surprise you. It wasn't conflict that damaged relationship, it was avoidance. The couples, the friendships, the families that went quiet, that smiled through everything, that never said the hard thing, those were the ones that slowly fell apart. Because conflict isn't the opposite of closeness. Avoidance is. When someone cares enough to say the hard thing, that's not a threat to the relationship. That's two people trusting each other enough to be honest. That's intimacy. That's real connection. And you can't have that if one person is always staying quiet to keep the peace. So the goal isn't to never have conflict. The goal is to learn how to move through it in a way that brings you closer, not further apart. So you're probably wondering, how do you actually do it? Because knowing conflict isn't the enemy doesn't automatically make it easier to speak up. I had a client once who wanted so badly to start having hard conversations. They knew they needed to. They knew what it was costing them. But every time they tried, they cried. And that moment, the tears came, the conversation stopped being about what they needed to say. It became about calming them down and making sure they were okay. And what they were actually dying to express got completely lost. When we dug into it together, something became really clear. The reason it felt so overwhelming, the reason it came out with that much emotion was because they had been holding it for so long. By the time they finally said something, it wasn't just one thing anymore. It was everything all at once. So one of the most important things I can tell you is this: stay in the moment. Not when you've rehearsed it perfectly, not when the moment feels exactly right, in the moment. Because the longer you hold it, the heavier it gets. And the heavier it gets, the harder it is to say exactly what you want. Rip off the Band-Aid. Don't sit with it. Don't wait on it. Just release it. And when you do, use I statements. Not you always do this, or you never listen, or you make me feel invisible, because that will create defensiveness in the other person. But if you can say, I feel unheard when you're on your phone during dinner, or I feel hurt when I'm trying to have a serious conversation with you, but you turn to jokes. It doesn't have to come out perfectly. It just has to be honest, and it has to be about how you feel, not about what they did. When someone doesn't feel attacked, they're a whole lot more likely to actually hear you. Okay, so drop a comment below and tell me, what's one conversation you're going to stop putting off going forward? Just name it, because naming it is a first step to taking action. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Yep, do it now. Come on, help us out. All right, so what does it look like when you finally start confronting hard conversations? Because I think when we're deep in the habit of staying quiet, it's hard to even picture what it would look like to say what's on our mind. So let me paint the picture. You share how you feel even when you're not sure if it will be received well. You finally ask the questions that have been swirling around in your head, the ones that never made it out. You show up authentically, vulnerable, true to yourself. Not the version of you that has been choosing peace over sanity. The one with opinions, boundaries, and curiosity. The one who feels things deeply and isn't afraid to say so. And you stop carrying the weight of everyone's feelings at the cost of your own. Because that's what silence does when it goes on long enough. It pulls you under slowly, quietly, until you've forgotten what it feels like to breathe. Speaking up is what helps you come up for air. Remember the client who I was talking about earlier, the one who spent years going along to get along. Once she started speaking up, she told me something I haven't forgotten. She said she didn't realize how exhausting it was managing everyone else's comfort at the expense of her own. You deserve relationships where you don't have to go under to keep everyone afloat, where your voice belongs in the room, where the people around you get to know the fullest version of who you are. That version exists, and it starts with one honest conversation. So here's what I want you to walk away with. Staying quiet has never been the safe choice. It's felt safe and even looked safe, but underneath the surface, it's been pulling you away from the relationships you want, the life you want, the version of yourself that you actually want to be. Your voice isn't a burden. It's the most honest thing about you. And the people who deserve to be in your life won't leave you because you used it. If anything, they'll finally get to meet you. So the next time you feel those butterflies, the tightness in your chest that pulls you to just let it go, remember what letting it go has actually been costing you, and say it anyway. You've already taken the first step by just watching this video, and that matters. The Anxiety Survival Toolkit is in the description if you want extra support while you're working through this. It's completely free and it has coping skills, audio tools, and a meditation to help you keep moving forward. And if you want to keep going, the next video is right there waiting for you. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, keep moving forward, trust yourself, and never forget you have what it takes to block out the noise.